Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode. I am your new Drivers World Champion and you join me here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Yes, that's right, we wrapped things up last weekend, or in yesterday's video, the Mexican Grand Prix. But we still have a job to do within relation to the Constructors' Championship. 2 rounds left to go, 31 points ahead. It's fairly academic, but you know, never say never in the world of Formula 1. You know, a McLaren driver has just won the Drivers' World Championship for the first time in a long old time. It's Lewis Hamilton won the Drivers' World Championship for McLaren back in 2008. There's some little factoids for you. Anyway, we move into qualifying. It was lashing it down here. Heavy rain conditions. Car was all over the place. Certainly not set up for the heavy rain conditions, and yeah, I did my usual thing that I was doing over the course of this season, just fueling the car up for multiple laps and then doing said multiple laps over the course of the session. You see it here, my delta was a little bit all over the place. Believe it or not, this was my best lap of the session here. As we come down through Megulo, the long left-hander, just about able to keep it flat due to the downforce level that I was running, and then through Junção, just ease it onto the power, and then up the hill towards the time. We're currently set as P12. Our delta isn't set to improve too much, but let's see what happens as we come across the delta lap time. We are only 700s up on our time as we charge across the line. P9 to the midfield is quite competitive there, but we end the session. Alonso 7/10 between Alonso and the next man, Raikkonen, and we ended up down in 15th place. So not my best qualifying. And to be honest, I was kind of running on a little bit of a high after Mexico, so I figured, you know what, let's try something a little bit different for Brazil. Let's go crazy a little bit. Let's try a 3-stop. High tyre wear around Brazil, of course, and obviously last year we did the 1-stop, and the 1-stop was absolute misery. And to be honest as well, the AI are just so good around this track. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, I've seen some of the best F1 2017 drivers around this track in career mode, and even then the AI just trumps them. But anyway, we're going to go for a 3-stop just because it's nice and different. Haven't really done one this year, so let's see how it works out. Mathematically, it's about, 8.5 seconds slower, but I'm sure to take that punishment as we go to the grid with the lights. 5 are on. 5 are out, and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix of Season 3 and penultimate race of F1 2017. Magnussen's had a flyer of a start into turn 1, but he brakes early. We go to the outside on the grass a little bit. Cars are locking up. Vettel down in 10th there, so we're going to try and swing it around, just keep our nose clean as we're up into 14th place. Sainz and Grosjean battling it out there as we now go through turn 3 and head down towards turn 4 using our Honda engine power and the slipstream off Romain Grosjean. The AI brake early. We dive it down the inside there of Sainz and Grosjean. That puts us up behind Danny Kvyat now as we charge back up the hill as we go towards the long double right-hander. Hülkenberg and Vettel are side by side. That slows Kvyat down. We just keep it out the back of him as we then lunge it down the inside of the guy on soft compound tyres. Also on our super soft tyres there. So we move up into 11th, and now we're on fringe points. And Valtteri Bottas there, our old championship rival, now down in 8th. So on the exit of Junção, up the hill for the first time of 36, we have rich mix flowing. Alonso leads the pack to the surprise of no one. His McLaren has been hooked up. Mine has been absolutely nowhere, but we go down the inside of Nico Hülkenberg here into turn 1. I slowed it down quite a lot for the first part, so Hülkenberg held it together very nicely. My weakness on this circuit compared to the AI is definitely turn 1. Sector 2 were a bit faster, but we kept it around turn 3 in the slipstream of Hülkenberg, and we can now send it down the inside towards turn 4. In fact, we've made the move before the corner, really. Just goes to show, again, just the power deficit there that we've managed to build up over time. But now in lap 3, Vettel's got ahead of Ocon. We've built a bit of a gap, and we're now closing down on the Force India man, who's going to try to go around the outside of Sebastian Vettel there into turn 4. Can he make it stick? Not quite. We're now going to cut now up the hill within the slipstream of Ocon. What can we look to do in the double right-hander? Not too much going on with him there, but he's very slow through the second part. We go a little bit wide, then dive it down the inside. Quite a popular move to make positions up on the AI there. They're very slow on the exit of that double right-hander, almost like they don't really accelerate properly. By lap 5, the AI had found their pace, and it turns out I was absolutely nowhere. Just again, what I mentioned, where the AI are very strong around this circuit. Vettel's built a lead of 3.3 seconds And we're going to be coming in for our first of 3 pit stops here this afternoon. Vettel's caught up to the back of one of the Red Bulls. I believe that to be like Max Verstappen there. So, come the end of lap 6, Ocon is now running nice and strong, and he's going to be challenging at a P9 around the outside, and he's using Mercedes power, just charged ahead with DRS open. I was running quite high downforce this weekend just to actually try and keep the car a bit more planted through some of the corners. I've made an absolute dog's dinner of turns 1 and 2, and that's going to allow Ocon to have the run on us. Is he going to try and make a move down towards turn 4? Let's see as he sits in the slipstream. We hold the right hand side of the circuit. Ocon going to try and go down the inside, pulls alongside us momentarily, but we sweep around the outside, manage to keep the position here. And let's just see what's what as we now come on to the end of lap 8. Our little green indicator in the heads-up display just down there. We're coming in very cautious for the pit lane. In fact, overly cautious. I forgot where the line was. Frustratingly, Bottas is in as well, so I assume Bottas is on the 3 stop. So like I say, we're coming in. We're going to get the soft tyre out of the way early. Didn't want to start on that tyre. Wanted to make up as many positions as I could straight away. And I was a little bit slow in engaging the clutch, unfortunately. So it has cost me a little bit of time here on the initial launch. Ericsson gets past me on the mediums. He plans on going quite long in this Grand Prix. Wehrlein is last. And quite a big gap between the 2 Sauber drivers. All things considered, people rate Wehrlein a hell of a lot higher than Ericsson. But then again, who's actually driving in the real-life 2018 calendar? I suppose the reason it's Ericsson is because of the funding, really, that he gave Sauber for the years. But I digress. We're out on cold tyres, so we didn't exactly get turn 4 very well. And it's taken us a lap to actually catch up to the back-ish of Marcus Ericsson. So let's see what we can do as we go through the double right-hander. Look at him. Very slow on the mediums. And in fact, Massa apparently has an issue as we dive it down the inside of Marcus Ericsson there. But he's going to look at him. On traction, surprisingly keeps it, dives it down the inside of us for the next left-hander, and then we just happen to hold it past him and move up into 18th place. And there we're going to catch up to Massa come the middle of the next lap, where we got the call from Jeff. Massa is having some issues at the moment, so he is going a little bit slow compared to us. You can see as we go through Megullo, just no speed from Massa, so he opens up the inside line. We're going to take that. Thank you very much. That's us up into P17. I say it almost like I'm celebrating, but, you know, we're a freshly crowned world champion and we're driving around in 17th. We've been informed of Grosjean's pit stop, so here we go. DRS, we're going to be drag racing Grosjean down towards turn 4. He comes across, but then we get the extra top-end speed with our power unit. He does go down the inside of us there, but we, again, just hold it around the outside nice and comfortably. And Grosjean's on super soft tyres, so he's either going a 2-stop with a longer stint on the supers, or he's going to pull that 3-stop, but I think he started on the soft tyres. It'd be a bit of a bizarre reason for him to only go onto the supers. Anyway, we're making a move on Jolyon Palmer here. Lap 12, Palmer just left the door open, going into Juncal. We're going to take that every day of the week, up into 15th place, and then we've got Nico Hulkenberg just up the road to us there. But we weren't actually, this was almost like our limit. I wasn't able to make inroads into Hulkenberg whatsoever. So much so, you saw it for a brief second there. In fact, Grosjean's done me completely as I went wide in turn 4, and Ericsson's only a couple of seconds back. So even though I'm on a softer tyre in a much faster car, I'm not able to make any inroads to Ericsson whatsoever. I do, however, take a very cheeky line at the double right-hander and just slingshot it down the inside of Grosjean. I had no idea where I was coming. Bit of an unfair move, really, some could consider, but, you know, I was doing what I did to keep myself entertained in this race, breaking the fourth wall a little bit. I just won the Drivers' World Championship, which is, of course, as everyone knows, what I've wanted to do for the past 58 parts of the career mode. And I was sort of, due to my schedule, I was just smashing out videos. So this race was recorded just after Mexico. And to be honest, it's like I had nothing left to fight for. I know I sit here and say that I've got, you know, I've got the Constructors' Championship to win. But at this moment, I was just on that high of like, oh, the Drivers' Championship. By the end of 15, Grosjean's 2 seconds ahead of me here. So, you know, is what it is at me for this point here. So I'm just sort of doing whatever I can. You know, I went a little bit wide and through turn 3. Here we go, going to take a little bit of an alternate line. And unfortunately, the stewards felt that was the need to give me a 3-second time penalty. So now I'm just, you know, let's just have some fun and games. I'm world champion. Let's put on a bit of a hot lap masterclass, if anyone gets that reference there, round Brazil. So here we go, up to the double right-hander, on lap 16, take a big old chunk of curb, keep the car nice and tight so you can slingshot wide out of the corner, and then bring it in for the right-hander, run it out wide so you can get the tightest line possible through the left-hander of Sector 2, but unfortunately we've lost grip on the grass. I needed to keep the tyres in check, and I haven't done so, and that's meant I've spun it round, and then when I wanted to just do one spin, the car's gone round twice, so the Hot Lap Masterclass has not worked out. I just about managed to keep it in check, but now we've got grass on the tyres, we're not going to have much grip, and that's going to be affecting our lap times there. You can see here just boatloads of understeer through the next right-hander, and we're back down to 18th place. But, you know, from what I'm hearing, this new strategy could be best. So we're going to take the wide line, the F1 2010 line, through Young Cow, get a beautiful run up the hill. That's not going to allow Palmer any opportunity to overtake us here down the main straight. I am also hearing that even though it's nice and bright in the skies, some rain could potentially come and spoil the Grand Prix for us. But we'll need to keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on the clouds, and see what's what as we now tackle turn 1. Take the curb nice and tight, but then we go out wide. You've got to avoid the barrier. It's quite tight there on the left-hand side corner, and then you just extend through the inside of turn 3. Go as flat as you can. That then brings you onto the straight down towards turn 4. What you're going to want to do is slow it down for the corner initially, kiss the apex, then on the power early in 5th gear. Just swing it out wide. That will give you a beautiful line up towards the hill here as we now once again charge towards the double right-hand corner. We slow down initially, and then we're just going to sling it out wide, take more of a speed as we did them before, and then you just brake, bring it down into the right-hander. That's what I wanted to do last time around, rather than have to cut across the grass. That cost me a little bit of time, unfortunately. But what's done is done, and you're now seeing the Hot Lap Masterclass of Brazil as we move into the final sector. So once again, through Megullo, just go wide, then let the car drift out naturally over to the green runoff area. Then you can just keep it flat, bring it down to about 115 miles an hour, and then you just go wide on the grass. Try and keep it as straight as possible, which I wasn't able to do on my worn soft tyres. Ended up making a bit of contact with the barrier, unfortunately. That did put me out of sorts a little bit, and now we're down the order now, 18th place, 19th place. But unfortunately, I have been told rain's going to be hitting very soon in the next couple of laps, so I'm making a bold decision to come in early here for wet tyres. That is right, it's going to be thundering it down here in Brazil, and we need to make sure we're on the right tyre compound at the right time. So we're in front wing change. I lost my front wing at some point. Honestly, don't know. It could have just vaporised, but here we go. Wet tyres on. Rain's going to come down any minute now. 6.9 pit stop by the McLaren boys, and a fantastic pit stop by them. And this is it. We're ready. So when the rain hits in a few moments' time, we are ready on the tyres. Everyone on their super softs? No, you're on the wrong tyres, boys. You are going to be losing time hand over fist. This is how we come back and win the Brazilian Grand Prix. So here we go at the pit lane, just full, flat to the floor on power, lean mix. You know, the engine's a bit worn. This engine's got to carry us through another Grand Prix after this one. So, you know, Verstappen goes past us. That's fine. He's on mediums. He's on the wrong tyre for these conditions. You see, just look at the grip as we go through turn 4. Tyres heating up nicely in these conditions. They are in their perfect operating window of mid-90s. Hulkenberg now closing up behind us to lap us. That's fine, Hulkenberg. You do that. When the rain comes, you will not be able to stand up against us. Here we go, heating the tyres up nice. 106 degrees centigrade, brakes over 1,000 degrees. Here we go, look, 115 on the tyres through the right-hander. It's perfect. We do a 154.4. That is peak lap time here for these conditions on these tyres. And there we go, we're taking our line through turn 1 to get a nice exit through turn 3. Just look at the speed as we get on the power here. DRS still active even in these extreme conditions. So we're down now, look, 150, 160 miles an hour, just constant on the speed. The extra downforce pushing the car into the ground in these horrible wet conditions there. Blue flags, they're waving the blue flags for how much rain is coming down. Unfortunately though, as it turns out, tyres weren't our best strategy, so I decided to dive in under the virtual safety car there to try and get an undercut on everyone else to go back to the slick tyres. Figured we'd go mediums to the end of the Grand Prix, but you know, a bold strategy hasn't paid off for us there. But we're going to go rich and just smash out some lap times to the end of the Grand Prix, and let's see what we can do under this quali pace here. So I'm going to sweat it out now, and we'll see where we end up at the final race results.
Look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm really happy to see them there on the top step of the podium.
So congratulations to Fernando Alonso for his third win of the season. They're winning it by 13.5 seconds opposed to Kimi Raikkonen. Max Verstappen headed home the one-stoppers there in P6. Valtteri Bottas' three-stop strategy did get him up into P4. And my sweat session, well, didn't really get me anywhere. As it turns out, my bold strategy, you know, with the wet tyre, the three-stop, didn't exactly work out. We still came stone dead last. Unfortunately, but that matters not, because we are still World Drivers' Champion, and we will continue to be World Drivers' Champion because no one can overtake me. Alonso jumps Hamilton, so that's going to be a fight between those two for two points in the final round there at Abu Dhabi. As we now move over to the constructors' side of things, we have a 38-point gap to Scuderia Ferrari and a 43-point gap to Mercedes. So both teams still within a mathematical chance. For Mercedes to win, they will need to get a 1-2. And we would need to score no points. I believe then it would backdate to wins, and I think McLaren, we've got either 9 or 10 wins. Mercedes have less than that, so we would still win the championship. So realistically, it's only Ferrari with a shot, but like I say, they would need a 1-2 for 43 points and for us to not score any points. So we'll see how that turns out in Abu Dhabi. That video will be up tomorrow, and I do hope you enjoy that one. Bit of a different one for the Brazilian Grand Prix, looking back at it there. I was on a high after winning the title, so I was like, let's just have a bit of fun with it, see how it goes. You know, I hope you guys have enjoyed a bit of a different one. You know, keeping the serious nature of the commentary, just putting a little bit of a cheeky spin on it, you know, as it were. If you have enjoyed watching, please consider leaving a like, and if you want to be kept up to date with the content that comes to the channel, do subscribe and enable them notifications there. And we will be here for the final episode, part 60 of F1 2017 career mode. That'll be tomorrow, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Can we solidify McLaren's road to glory by winning the Constructors' World Championship? I will see you guys next time.